for today's cup of coffee, we've got something that's probably going to fit in the category of oddity more than anything else, but yeah, oddities are welcome here too.
Yeah,
We've had an odd day.
we have had an odd day.
Oh God, the odd day started at 2:30 a.m. for me. For whatever reason, couldn't sleep. Got up, was watching Mr. Ballin in the wee hours of the morn. About 4:30, decided to actually found out at that point there was an issue with our toilet flushing.
Yeah, there was a big
And
issue
so
with the toilet
I
flushing.
tried to lay back down, and it just kept. I was ruminating about the commode situation. And it's like, okay, it can be this, but it can't be that, and it's not the flapper, it's not the chain, it's doing anything like that. And I'm thinking, okay, it's either clog or it's septic tank, and I'm like, please God, don't let it be septic tank because that would cost thousands.
Yeah.
And so finally, as I went back to bed about 6:30, got up about 8 something, 8 maybe a 9 something at that point. After drinking about a half a pot of coffee, I told you I can do that.
Yeah.
Coffee soothes me. It soothes my soul.
Doesn't soothe mine, but
Well, no, it
wakes me up
doesn't
a
have the
little bit.
same effect on you. And so gently woke youngest kid up going, wake up, we have to go to Lowe's.
Wake up, we have to do a emergency run to Lowe's.
And I told him, I said, I blame you.
Yeah.
Because with the time frame, Mom and I went shopping yesterday. Kid was here at the house. He was home alone. The toilet was fine when I left. I noticed last night and I thought, something ain't quite right. So as we're on our way to Lowe's, he decides to disclose to me that he had used one of these plastic tooth thingies that has the dental floss strung between the little prongs.
And also has a pick on the other side.
Yes, and they're actually kind of large. They're about, 2, 3 inches, something like that?
They're about 2 inches long,
And
they're not even an inch thick. Only the part where the floss is, it's like an inch.
And so that as he was trying to throw it in the trash can, it bounced off the trash can, went into the commode as it was flushing. And I'm like, oh God, that's it, because that it has gotten caught in the S-trap.
And it actually happened the day before, like at night somewhere, and it was working fine before I went to bed. It was.
So anyhow, we go to Lowe's. $102 later.
She spent $102
oh my God.
on 2 snakes. Not actual snakes, but one was...
augers.
Augers, yeah. That's what they're called.
There is such a thing as a toilet auger, which is different than a sink auger. We do call them snakes around here. And that being that the toilet auger has this bar-type mechanism that the coiled spring thingy goes down in the hopes that it's not going to mar the porcelain.
Yeah.
So between that, and I will tell you this, if you do not own a plunger, let's see, what was it called? A Beehive.
Yeah, Beehive plunger.
Go get you one. It's worth the monies.
Because
it
it
is worth the
sort
monies.
of into the hole and suctions properly.
And it's like, at this point in life, I'm not a fan of the nature pee. So it was a matter of getting this done quickly and without having to spend hundreds for a plumber. And I'm like, oh, please, God. And so between the auger and the plunger, we had success. And I was a very happy, grateful, thankful human being.
Uh-huh.
And so we got home after 3 o'clock, and my ass was dragging.
Both of our asses were dragging.
It's like, well, and it's just...
It's not a good night for sleep anyway.
Sleep is not my friend. Has not been my friend for a while. But yeah, Beehive plunger. It's worth it. I got one for the kitchen sink, too.
It's not a Beehive plunger, but
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Yes. I found one they had a smaller version for the kitchen sink. Because nobody aerated the plumbing underneath the double sink. It's right there. It's underneath the other one.
No, we got it wasn't a
We gonna
Beehive.
argue about this. I
Yes.
will later.
And I will win.
I'll put in the description box who was right and who was wrong.
All right.
Anyhow, going on to other oddities, we're going to discuss something that Kid had alluded to in yesterday's cup. And it was a group of people that had bluish skin, and they were called the blue Fugates.
Yeah. Also, if I don't say much, I can't really hear all that well, considering every single time I talk, and every single time Mom talks, and just in general, me hearing right now.
He's got fluid behind his ears, is what it is, because he's been
like
drinking milk, and now he's got a eustachian tube issue.
It sounds like everything is rumbling.
So, anyhow, the blue Fugates, this is from Wikipedia, were a family that lived in the hills of Kentucky. Well, hell, that's all that Kentucky is hills.
Yeah.
So that's redundant. Commonly known as the blue Fugates, or the blue people of Kentucky. And they were notable characters of a genetic trait that led to a blood disorder that is methemoglobinemia. It's also known as MET-H gene. So that's how it will be referred to throughout the rest of this video.
MET-H.
MET-H. And it says that Martin Fugate and Elizabeth Smith had married and settled near Hazard, Kentucky around 1820. And they were both carriers of this recessive MET-H gene. As a result, 4 of their 7 children exhibited blue skin and continued to intermarry within the very limited local gene pool, and that ensured that many descendants of the Fugates were born with the MET-H. Descendants of the gene continued to live in the areas around Troublesome Creek and Ball Creek into the 20th century, eventually coming to the attention of nurse Ruth Pendergrass and hematologist Madison Cowan III, who made a detailed study of their condition and ancestry. And Cowan found that a report in 1960 by a public health doctor, E.M. Scott, which was published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation, he had research on the same phenomenon among Native Alaskans. And that's based on the theory that a deficiency of the enzyme diaphorase was the cause of the oxygen deficiency in the red blood cells, causing the blood to appear brown, which in turn made the skin of those affected appear blue. Hemoglobin, it matters.
That is interesting.
Oh, yeah. There's all kinds of stuff. It's real science.
Yeah.
Not this shit that they're calling science these days.
Yeah.
Cowan treated the family with methylene blue, which eased their symptoms and reduced the blue coloring of their skin. He eventually published his research in the Archives of Internal Medicine in 1964. Benjamin Stacy, born in 1975, is the last known descendant of the Fugates to have been born exhibiting characteristic blue color of the disorder, though he quickly lost his blue skin tone, exhibiting only blue tinges on his lips and fingertips if he was cold or agitated. Yeah. So
I've heard of that happening before. But.
Well, that's not uncommon for, nail beds and stuff like that.
Yeah,
there's different conditions that can cause that, especially poor circulation.
Yeah, we had to learn about that in cosmetology school.
It said it's been speculated that some other Americans who inherited the MET-H may have also had Fugate ancestors, but searches for direct links have so far proved inconclusive, which is actually pretty sad. Another reference that I'll leave you is from November the 3rd, 2006. This was found on the Wayback Machine. There were some other, in these articles, some other references that were supposed to be on the Wayback Machine and weren't there anymore, which is really sad because that's supposed to be an archive site.
Yeah, absolutely, but sometimes stuff gets removed from there as well.
Yeah, that's really sad. Oh, cyanosis is the clinical term for when your nails turn blue and different things like that.
Yeah.
if you've got pneumonia, guess what? You get some cyanotic features with that.
Yep.
But anyhow, this in this little article, and it's sort of like a blog, whoever the writer was had said that the real color that is being called blue is actually an ashen grayish color that is only mildly blue in appearance. So I'm thinking corpse look.
Yeah, I would say that's corpse. Close to it.
Yeah, because when the blood stops flowing, and that's what gives, as far as us that, you know, have more of a Caucasian-ish appearance, that pinkish appearance, except for your brother.
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell happened there.
He's clear.
But, so that's one of the reasons that, you know, the grayish tint happens when the blood stops.
Yeah.
Because blood, deoxygenated blood inside your veins is blue.
That is true, and so basically the only time that it turns red is when oxygen.
Absolutely.
It's exposed to oxygen.
And they also said that, of course, the MET-H is usually a recessive gene, and none of Martin and Mary's descendants would have been blue had they not intermarried with another clan, the Smiths. Someone else in this clan had the recessive gene and thus produced children with the gene. Because of the small size of the community, several people intermarried and reproduced children carrying the gene, resulting in individuals who have the bluish hue. And it says that the first blue fugate was thought to be born in 1832. And by the 1890s, there were about a half dozen blue people in the area. So, which means 6 of them, so that's not...
Yeah.
You know, there was another.
Yeah,
there was another article that is from a website called DNA Science, and was written by Ricky Lewis, PhD, and it's from 2016. And the interesting thing about this article, it's got some hard science if you really want to go into the genetics of it, and you know, how that the MET-H was treated, but it also contains a larger portrait of the blue people. And of course this was painted, but it's most interesting.
Right.
So I'll leave you that link so you can go and look at that.
I would be interested in seeing it too.
Well, yeah, I've got that tab open, so I'll let you see that here in just a minute.
Okay.
And then we had, there's a website called AppalachianHistory.net.
We love that.
And this article there was an article written by Dave Tabler, and the last part of it is what I'm going to share with you, because he gave a Appalachian perspective on this, which was, and I'm going to quote on this, even with diligent searches of the internet, you're unlikely to find many pictures of blue men or women, Kentuckian or otherwise, because those people affected with this genetic anomaly, says I won't call it a defect or even a handicap because I haven't read of any disabling physiological effects. They fear, quite logically, that society would drag them out for public exposition.
Which is true.
Absolutely. He says it's sad, really. A physical trait that could add to someone's uniqueness has had to be hidden out of fear that it will be exploited by the foulest pimps of the entertainment and yellow journalism, both printed and video tabloids.
Except for Papa Smurf.
Well, he did
that to himself.
But he also made it work for him, didn't it?
Yeah, he did.
And
why don't they just call the blue people the Smurfs?
Well, because they were a little taller. Anyhow, Mr. Tabler goes on to say, indeed, I find it interesting that most of these folks interacting with the blue Fugates blame the geography of East Kentucky alone for the genetic inbreeding. I can't remember that any of them make the connection between their hesitancy to leave their family connections and the fact that these people, rational beings all, knew how they would be insulted, feared, abused, and most likely very, very lonely, end quote.
That's really sad.
It is sad. And this is what happens when people are different. And that's not just physically different, that's different thought processes. different views, points of view, different style clothing. This, the herd mentality is not necessarily a good thing.
No, it's not.
Because I don't know why people can't just go, oh, okay, that person's doing that. Now, if it's something harmful, then yeah, somebody needs to be called out on that. But to sit there and go, that is not going to help you in life. So, and that was one of the things. That was one of the things I did as a counselor. It's like, you really need to think this through.
Yeah. Don't hurt yourself, don't hurt others.
Well, especially with kid brain, because kids do not, they understand now, and that's it. They don't think about 6 months from now, or a year from now, or 5 years from now, and
right, exactly.
Frontal lobe shrinkage, which is the reasoning and rational part of the brain during that period of time. There's shrinkage there, so they literally are brain damaged until they're about 25. Some of them older than that.
Yeah.
If I do this, this will happen. And you can teach those skills. Try to teach those skills.
Try is the word.
And then it's one of those, the inevitability of somebody coming back going, you were right. It ain't about being right. It's a matter of somebody, does everybody have to learn the hard way?
Apparently. Apparently so.
I don't know. But now the Fugates there, that's a really interesting story, and it would have been fascinating. And again, 1800s, people were anything out of the normal, and especially in these mountains, what their version of normal is, you get shunned.
Yeah, you really truly do.
And it's not so much like that now. People, well, that's what Kid was telling me the other day. He's like, people around here don't like change. They don't like to try new things. I said, well, that's not all of them. It's a lot of it is the older ones that are truly stuck in their ways. They believe that they are right, and this isn't just here in the mountains. It's everywhere. But those people are dying off, and quickly.
That's true. That is true.
So that is one of the positive things to internet, because you want to preserve, as far as a lot of the culture.
Absolutely you do.
But you don't have to be ignorant about other cultures.
Right.
And there are so many people that are ignorant of our culture.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So a lot of times it ain't a matter of just being blue. It's a matter of how somebody speaks, what they try to, what they wear, what they like. Thus the mountain goth thing. It is a thing, people.
Did it? Yeah.
Combat boots, camouflage, black fingernails.
Coffee shop goth.
That ain't coffee shop. A coffee shop don't have camouflage. I don't know. Around here it means that hunting season's about ready to happen. Some of us say that is the tartan of our people. Then if you don't have so much camouflage, they'll kick you out of the area. Kids, got one or two, so he's good for the minute.
I have none. What are you talking
about? You do. You've got some shorts. You really do.
I don't anymore.
Oh my God! Then that means you're at risk. I must go out and purchase you some camouflage.
I hate camo.
Camo's great. What are you talking about?
I hate it.
It works wonderfully well with combat boots.
Oh, I hate camo.
I love camo.
I don't like camo on me. You look fine in camo. I just don't like camo.
Well, you've got a variety of colors to pick from now.
All of them are shit.
No. Sometimes you've got to, blend in. You can have a ghillie suit.
All camo's bad.
No, it's not. There's other people that will argue you down on that.
Now, if it's like camo pants that are cargo pants, you can make that work somewhat.
You can make it work in a lot of ways for a lot of different reasons.
Somewhat. Only cargo pants look good in camo.
Hey,
that's it.
Let me tell you something. Those BDUs, those side pockets on those BDUs have a purpose. These people out there know what I'm talking.
Only cargo pants look good with camo. Only cargo pants look good with it.
Well, like I said, and to make sure that you don't have something on so tight that if you have to get down in a prone position that you can do it comfortably. I'm trying to teach him. He's a hard head, period. Anyhow, but we thought that you would find that interesting as far as the blue Fugates, and to hear the different versions of that, not only from the scientific and medical version, but also as far as the Appalachian culture.
Yeah, that actual scientific reasoning behind the blueness, that's actually highly appreciated with that.
Yeah. So, and if you are cyanotic, and that means that your nail beds are blue, more than likely you have got some kind of a circulatory problem, and need to go to the doctor and you need to go to the doctor and have that checked out. That could be caused by anemia and different things like that. We are not giving medical advice.
Go to a medical professional.
Yeah.
That's the advice that we give you. Go to a medical professional and get it checked out.
Yeah. So anyhow, if you all have experiences with paranormal, supernatural, encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, oddities, local, regional, family, myths, legends,
Yeah.
all that good stuff. Yeah, he's on the shrunken head. You're not buying somebody's face.
I am buying somebody's face. I'll get a replica.
Well, replica's okay, but that was still somebody's face. That is not something to hang from your rearview mirror.
I would have no problem with someone shrinking my face and having it hanging up in their car.
I don't know, it'd be like that knife of Beetlejuice on
I'd have no problem with human taxidermy. If it was possible to hide the seams, I would have absolutely no problem with human taxidermy.
Well, that's a cultural thing, and they called that mummification.
Mummification is different than taxidermy.
I understand, but still, yet that is a cultural thing, and I think it's cool. Other people, funerary customs across the world. That's another one we can do at some point. Yeah.
I mean, there's an art piece literally called, something Punished Death or something like that, where, he fished a body out of the river or something, and because of the hooks tearing the skin, he used that to his advantage and put snakes and such crawling up in wax.
Yeah.
And it was actually really good.
Well,
really well done.
There have been incidents as far as tattoos when people had the bodysuits and stuff like that those were removed and preserved.
Yeah, because why would you want to get rid of that art?
Right. So you all have a beautiful, blessed day, and we'll see you on the next cup.
Let's hope my ears are better by tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.